The commentator, Sarah Cook, who I don't know, said that I was smiling. I would just like her and everybody to know that I was not smiling. I was grimacing, and my like pain face kind of looks like a smile. It's because somebody a really long time ago told me that if you smile, it hurts less. So I like started trying that, and then it just kind of became what happened. So when I'm like in a world of hurt, I like grit my teeth and it's like, "Urgh." So it's not a smile. Welcome to The Other 3 Years, a show for anyone who has an Olympic-sized dream they want to turn into a reality. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Other 3 Years podcast. My name is Kristi Wagner, and this is my podcast. This week, you get to listen to me give a recap of the second World Cup that just wrapped up in Lucerne, Switzerland, where Sophia and I actually won the women's double, which is super exciting. It was really fun, really awesome to win. That seems wild, but exciting. The whole US team had such a great performance. So many boats medaled, a lot of boats medaled. The men's four also won. A few boats were second, and some boats were third as well. So, honestly, like a really good regatta for the team. And I know some of the boats and some of my teammates didn't have the races that they wanted to have, which rowing is such an interesting sport. And like being on a team is so interesting because it is just this interesting roller coaster of sometimes you're doing well, but other people aren't, and like balancing that. And sometimes other people are doing really well and you're not doing as well. It is just a really interesting kind of experience. And finishing at the top is just as likely as not, you know? So I think that it's always a good reminder and good perspective to have people experiencing like a broad range of emotions from their final performance. And really, this, was a good check in and a good trip, but it's really not the end goal. We are all much more focused on the Olympics and on performing there. So this was definitely a good check in and a good to see, what we're doing wrong as well as what we're doing right. I think everyone will just kind of do like after actions reports when we all kind of get back together, then, heads down as we start our last push towards the Olympics. So this week is kind of a like reset week. And then next week, we'll start a build in Princeton, and really most of the US team will be there. Then in the beginning of July, we'll fly to Italy for 2 weeks and then have about a week in Paris before racing starts. It's so insane that we're in the final build, but it's also really exciting, and there's no time like the present. We really got to get all of our workouts in and do everything that we want to be doing as well as we can possibly be doing it. So, yeah, I just thought that I would use this episode as a little check in and to answer some questions that people had about the World Cup race. Oh, also, oh my gosh, and I forgot to mention that before the World Cup was the final Olympic qualification regatta, and I think 4 US boats qualified for the Olympics. So 4 more boats qualified: the men's 8, the women's quad, the men's double, and the men's single. So super, super exciting. 2 of the boats, unfortunately, did not qualify, which is, really tough. And I think everyone's been in situations like that, where you come short of a goal and don't do what you wanted to do. And that's just really, really tough. But I hope that all of those guys feel like, still proud of themselves and still proud that they tried, because I think it can be like really scary to give all of yourself to something and come up short. But I think that's what it takes to accomplish goals like this. And yeah, I mean, I feel really bad for them just because it really stinks to be like going through that, and it's just not a fun feeling, but they're all like great people, and I hope that they keep their heads high and come back. But everyone else, like so many votes qualified, which is really, really exciting, and a lot of really great racing, and I'm just like really happy for everyone, really happy for the team. So now we have a much bigger contingent that's going to go to Paris. A lot of excitement the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I thought that it would just be fun to answer some questions that people had about World Cup 2, you can definitely go watch all of the racing on worldrowing.com. They do a great job having like all of the races available to watch afterwards. So if you want to watch our race or you want to watch any of the races, I would definitely go check that out. My first question that I got was about switching our seats in the boat. So, yes, Sophia and I had been rowing for the past 2 seasons with her in the stroke seat and me in the bow seat. For this World Cup, we raced with me in the stroke seat and Sophia in the bow seat. Really was not a dramatic thing. A couple months ago, we just kind of switched around, which I think it's pretty normal in doubles to switch around the lineup for even just practice. So we'd done that before, but we switched it around and Yosi kind of liked what he was seeing. So we've just kind of kept it, but it's definitely made us both grow, I think. I have new responsibilities and she has new responsibilities. So I think it's been like a good learning experience for everyone to kind of grow into their new roles. But I don't know what we'll do in the future. Like, I think we're a fast combination and we're a good combination. I don't know if it really matters what seat we're sitting in. I think we'll just try to do what makes the most sense at that, point when we decide what we'll do for the Olympics. Oh, my second question is I got this a lot. The commentator, Sarah Cook, who I don't know, said that I was smiling in the third 500 or the fourth 500 or something. I would just like her and everybody to know that I was not smiling. I was grimacing and my like pain face kind of looks like a smile. It's because somebody a really long time ago told me that if you smile, it hurts less. So I like started trying that and then it just kind of became what happens. So when I'm like in a world of hurt, I like grit my teeth and it's like, "Urgh." So it's not a smile. I was in a significant amount of pain and was just trying as hard as I possibly could to make the boat go faster. The way that she said it was like we weren't trying and we were just like lackadaisically rowing, which is absolutely hilarious to me. I don't know how you could be in that point of a race doing that, but I guess maybe that's a good thing. I'm not really sure. Thank you to everyone for thinking that I was smiling. I was not. I was grimacing. My next question is about managing attitudes and expectations. This is a good question. I think, first of all, everyone is really different. I think that everyone handles race nerves and race week in a really different way. And I think that to be a good teammate, you really have to like let people handle things whatever way they're going to handle them and not try to, you know, be crazy about anything or really get frustrated or upset about the way that somebody else is handling something. I definitely get pretty nervous, especially for the first round of racing, especially like at a, this was our first international race of the year. Like, it's been a whole year since we've raced these people, just a lot of unknowns, and there's been a lot of movement around in the women's double. So I was just like pretty nervous. As the regatta goes on, I kind of get less nervous. It's a little bit weird. As far as expectations, I probably have the highest expectations of myself rather than what other people have. But I think more important than like expectations or being, nervous or scared you're going to let yourself or someone down, like you just really have to focus on what's happening currently. And I think also you have to give credit and like kudos to your competitors. And if they go really fast, but like you still had a really good race and you went really fast and they just went faster, like that's got to be okay, because I don't think you want to like hope that the other people in the race mess up. You want to hope that your best is better than their best. But, sometimes it's not. Like, no one's going to win every race of their career ever. That's never happened. That's not a reality. I think just being able to like handle the highs and lows and not let them get too high or too low, but just kind of trying to stay steady and control what you can control. If the expectations are high, like let that be a good thing. Don't let that be scary. Oh, my next question is a great question. It was very direct. Who is your favorite portside sweep rower over the age of 40? Magnus Nicky is, I think, the only person that falls into that category. But Moose, I would say you were my favorite anyways. And I hope that you listen to the podcast so that you hear this answer. The next question is about racing from behind. So it's kind of an interesting question. And a lot of people have asked me about this over the years because we have not traditionally had the best first 500. I'd say that like more important than racing from behind is just racing internally and staying focused on your race plan and what you're doing rather than getting hyper focused on what everyone around you is doing. Yeah, it's like a little bit tough to race from behind, but I've also had like enough experience knowing that I can put myself in a position to go harder during the second 1K, and I know Sophia definitely can do that. So like as a double, I feel really confident in our ability to just keep going kind of no matter what's happened. And I think that just comes from staying internal and staying confident in your training and your preparation. The next question is, how did this World Cup compare to World Cup 2 last year? Well, this was a very different experience last year at World Cup 2. Well, first of all, it was a lot later in the season, and we raced in two events, the women's quad and the women's double, which was definitely a lot more than racing in one event. It was also a lot hotter last year because we were racing later in the season and in Italy. But I'd say both years were good experiences, good to like get some international experience in early in the season and then be able to go and work more at base and come back even better for the next one. The next question is, you've mentioned people root for you on the way up. What happens now? This is an interesting question to me because I feel like I don't really understand. Like winning a World Cup was never my end all be all. So I think the same thing happens now. I hope that people continue to root for me. Well, if they want to, it's not required unless you're my parents. Maybe then it's required. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything different happens now. Like Yosi always says, you either be happy or sad for 24 hours. And so those 24 hours have already passed. Now, it's just back to training and we still want to improve on things. Like we did not have a perfect regatta. Still want to keep working and striving to get faster and fitter and better because, that's what you have to do. You just always have to keep improving because if you don't, other people will. So I don't think anything really different happens now. Except now I can say that I won a World Cup, so that's exciting. Does the win at World Cup 2 give you any insight into how you might perform at the Olympics? I would say that we have had high expectations of ourselves like from the beginning. I think that the win at World Cup 2 is just a good reminder that we're doing the right things, but like I kind of just said, there's still things that we want to improve upon and still things that we want to keep working at. So I don't think it's like, oh, yeah, this definitely guarantees anything. That is 100% not true. It's just really a good check in that we're on the right tracks and doing the right things and focusing on the right stuff. I also think that there's stuff that we want to do a little bit differently and a few changes we want to make. So I think it lets us know that we can keep having high goals of ourselves. But I don't even think if the result had been different, we would have felt differently. There's also still like a lot of fire in my belly. Like it didn't really make me content or anything like that. I still have, really high goals and really high aspirations and I just want to keep working. What race did you feel you executed the best? Is it helpful to have a heat and a semi before the final? I would say it's really helpful to have a heat and a semi before the final because you can practice different things, especially in like a World Cup because we don't really have that many races. And just practicing racing is really, really helpful. So we definitely learned things in the heat and the semi that we then tweaked a little bit and got a little bit more right for the final. So I'd say the final was probably our most complete race, learning from the heat and the semi on how to do that. Were you surprised by watching the race? I actually was pretty surprised. So they showed us the last 500 right after we had finished when we were sitting waiting to get our medals. And like World Rowing filmed us watching it. I thought that we were pulling into the lead like a lot earlier than we actually did. So I thought that was kind of funny. But I guess it all worked out. So that's good. The next question is, do you get pre-race nerves? I kind of already talked about this, but I definitely do. I get nervous before racing, especially like earlier in the regatta. I think also just because there's so much like hype built around it and tapering, you're spending a lot of time just sort of waiting to get ready. So I definitely get nervous, but I think nerves just mean that you care. That's what I always remind myself. And if I get like really anxious and nervous, I just try to, clear my mind and think about something else and just control what I can control and focus on whatever I'm doing. So if it's like the day before, maybe I can go for a walk or read my book or whatever. If it's the morning of when I'm warming up, like I just say, okay, well, I'm just going to stretch right now. And then I'm just going to do my dynamic warm up. And then I'm just going to do my erg warm up. And like breaking it down, chunking it up like that, like really helps. Yeah, World Cups are also nice because the heats are like 5 minutes apart and the semis too. So there's less time to sit at the start line. Like sitting at the start line, especially for the finals or like earlier races at the world champs, like, oh, you're just sitting there for so long and it's super nerve wracking. That's why the World Cup is nice because it happens a lot faster. The next question is, did you know how far the Chinese were up on you guys, and was walking through other boats helpful during the race? So yes, in the race, the Chinese crew, which was in the lane next to us, jumped out to like a really big lead in the first 500. I did know they were pretty far up because I could feel their wash that we were rowing in, but I also just like was pretty confident we were going to be able to catch them. Those were all of my questions. But again, it was just really awesome to see the whole team racing. And I'm really just proud of all of my teammates. I'm so proud of Sophia. Very exciting for her as well to win a World Cup. So, really happy for her. Really happy for all of my teammates that qualified through the final Olympic qualification regatta. I think we'll have some of them on the podcast in the near future. Just sort of enjoying this week and seeing some family and friends and stuff. And then pretty excited to get right back to it next week. Hard training. We're going to get right back into a hole, which honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to in a weird way. Mostly because it's like the last build. Like, this is the last time we're going to have to do some of these workouts. And that just feels crazy, but exciting. Thank you so much to everyone who reached out and supports us and congratulated us. And it's just really awesome and exciting. And I definitely feel the community behind us. And it has taken the help of a lot of people to get here and to continue because we are not done. There's a lot left to do and some goals we still have to accomplish. So thank you guys all so much. I'll see you next week. Bye. I'd love to hear from you, so send us a topic suggestion, or if you'd like to submit a question for our Ask Kristi Anything segment, head to our website, theother3years.com.